Demon Slayer is carried by animation, a saying that has been said thousands of times throughout time. Do I think it's true? Yes. The series is incredibly flawed and has way too many issues to be enjoyable for me. The show still has some great aspects and moments, but the bad just drastically outweighs the good for me. Now there will be manga spoilers in this video, so I'll play this audio cue every time a spoiler is about to be talked about. Now let's get into the reasons why Demon Slayer deserves to be called mid.
Murderer! Hold your fire! This man isn't black!
Sometimes the dialogue makes me feel like I'm watching a kid's show. I know a lot of series have scenes where characters argue about their opposing philosophies with one another, and I usually really enjoy those moments as they provide a deeper look into a character's beliefs and motives. But with Demon Slayer, it just feels immature. Tanjiro just starts blabbering about shit like, why do you eat people? While the demons usually just say some stupid bullshit like, brrr, I wanna eat people, brrr. And it just feels so fucking stupid to listen to. It's like middle schoolers arguing with each other. I mean, Tanjiro is 15, so that kinda makes sense, I guess. But these arguments just don't feel like real arguments. Like, I feel like in a real one, there'll be a lot more cursing towards each other.
What are you doing, man? Shut the fuck up, Nick!
This isn't really that big of an issue, because at the end of the day, it is just generic shonen dialogue for generic shonen after all. But that doesn't even excuse it. Lots of other shonen have memorable arguments, while Demon Slayer arguments have no narrative weight to them, and they're just copy-pasted lines from each arc.
It all began on the day of my actual birth. Both of my parents failed to show.
Season 4 was literally just backstories after backstories. Literally every week I was waiting for episodes, but each of them were just fucking backstories with no action. Like, I'm not even shitting you, I'm pretty sure half the arc is just backstories. I literally just had to give up and read the manga after that. There was literally no point in showing us the backstories of characters who have no impact on the rest of the plot. If the series was longer and more fleshed out, then it would make more sense to give each character a decent backstory. But Demon Slayer is only like 200 chapters long. The author didn't need to cram every single character's backstory into the plot. None of the backstories in Swordsmith's Village arc are relevant to the plot. Like, we don't need to know these guys' backstory, except for maybe one. Spoiler alert, skip to this part. Maybe Muichiro, but we didn't need to know his entire backstory. We literally could have just gotten an interaction between him and his father and just point out how similar he looks to Tanjiro's family, and then tie into the Kokishibo shit later.
What the fuck?
The author literally just gives characters random ass abilities with no good explanation or build up to them whatsoever. Inosuke can just magically move his organs around because he can just do that, I guess. Gene can just eat demons for some reason and copy their abilities. He quite literally has the best ability in the verse and just jack shit with it. Spoiler alert, skip to here. And then the author realized how OP he was and then killed him off, even though he shouldn't have died to that injury since he was a demon, but whatever, we'll just ignore that, okay? I get the author wanted to do the, oh my god guys, they represent smell, sound, touch, taste, and sight. Except they literally never explained any of their abilities properly, and Kanao shouldn't even be considered as part of the main cast. She literally only appears in like 2 fights with them. And look, I get that people can have extraordinary sense organs in real life, and the author wanted to implement it into the story, but smelling good just doesn't equate to slowing down time and seeing the perfect angle to strike something. I feel like the author really fumbled with breathing styles. They tried making it a simple power system, but they just ended up making things more questionable. Like, how the fuck does Tanjiro cut through the freaky webs with a different breathing style? It's still the same sword, just swung differently! I also don't get how the color of the blade changes depending on what breathing style you have. It's so weird. Like, the author made it so that there's no actual cool magic katana abilities, but at the same time, there's just a bunch of random bullshit, like crows being able to talk, and all these random ass supernatural powers previously mentioned. Like, couldn't you have flame breathers coat their katanas in oil and have flint on their katanas or something? Or mist breathers have vape canisters and shit? Or stone breathers stone the haram people to death? Like, Tengen literally just carries sound bombs and shit. Why don't these other motherfuckers carry their own elemental weapons? Another thing to bring up is the fact that all the breathing styles are the same thing with just different flashy effects. I get that some are faster, some move irregularly, and some hit harder, but like, at the end of the day, they're all just the same thing if you're a good enough swordsman. I feel like the author could have just made it so every style uses a different weapon in order to add some variety to the series. The only non-katana weapons used by other characters are either from different countries or literally just don't exist in real life. so I don't see why the author couldn't have just included something like a kanabo, naginata, kusarigama, or literally any other Japanese weapon for different breathing styles. But no, everyone has to use the same old katana, which actually wasn't even that good of a weapon. It was quite prone to breaking, which is something the author actually brings up early in the story but just forgot about towards the end because, oh, the swordsmith didn't smith his sword properly or something. But for other characters, their swords only break like once, while Tanjiro gets like 3 sword breaks, because I guess he's the main character. Tanjiro is a boring protagonist. This has been said so many times by so many other people that I won't even bother with him for too long. He has no flawed character traits, and his character from the start to the end of the series literally feels the same. He shows no growth throughout the entirety of the series. He's just stronger and faster, I guess. Now, when it comes to all the characters besides Tanjiro, it's a mess. Character depth and complexity is only like skin deep. This guy is sad because a demon killed his family. This guy is quiet because a demon killed his family. This guy is angry because a demon killed his family. And every time a character does change their personality, it is forced and unnatural. It either happens off screen or just out of nowhere, and it literally just breaks the quality of the characters. Rengoku goes from literally wanting to execute Tanjiro to just being nice to him for no fucking reason. Genya goes from being an asshole to just not being an asshole. Zenitsu goes from, actually fuck it, this guy deserves his own paragraph. While editing this, I would like to point out that this guy has his own page in size 11 font, single spaced. If you unironically like this guy, he deserves to be kidnapped and waterboarded by the CIA. Upon his introduction, he's a pervert and a coward, 2 very unlikable character traits. But when he falls asleep, he switches personality, becomes, oh, the cool guy. And while I was watching this, I was under the impression that he would grow out of that phase over the course of the series, but no. He's the same in season 1, 2, 3, he's not even in 4. And then out of seemingly nowhere, his personality shifts in Infinity Castle to being the cool guy even while conscious. And then he just goes back to being a perverted coward at the end. This is a good example of shitty writing. Now let's talk about his backstory. It's a shitty backstory. So he gets struck by lightning and then becomes a thunder breather, which makes no sense since the elements in the series aren't actually real. He then talks about his training, which isn't that important, but it does briefly mention a character which is brought up later. Spoiler alert! So his quote-unquote past with Kaiaku is the most forced bullshit plotline I've ever seen. He's only mentioned like once in the story, and then never again until the author really needed him. Plot twists are meant to have at least some build-up. It would have been cool if we at least got to meet Kaiaku a few times and then see him fight early on in the series, and then the twist reveal would have been at least narratively impactful. But no, he just comes out of nowhere, argues about shitty philosophies, and then gets defeated by Zenitsu using a move that is literally just a copy-paste of his previous form. The only one he ever masters throughout the series. Speaking of which, let's talk about how stupid this is. Why the fuck can't Zenitsu just use the other forms? If he's able to do all this bullshit with one form, what's preventing him from just practicing the other ones? It would have been cliche if we learned it over the course of the series, but at least it would have made sense instead of just limiting him for the sake of being unique. After fighting top tier demons over the course of the entire series, how is it possible that he never learned the other forms? Is he actually just a retard? And then you see the fanbase quoting Bruce Lee on how, ooh, Zenitsu's scary because he practices one move a gazillion times. Like, fuck off, bro. He's not a Giga Chad. He's a dumbass, shittily written character who should have died. This shit is so frustratingly bad, but then the fanbase will hype the shit out of his fight with Kaiaku and go like, oh, I got chills from that line he said. Oh, he's so Sigma for not freaking out like everyone else. Like, why are people glazing him? It's quite literally some of the laziest writing I've ever seen. If I was the author, I would have justified his sleepy personality as Zenitsu being born with split personality disorder. That would have actually been a really decent explanation for why he's such a fuck up. Zenitsu deserved to die. He should have died in Infinity Castle, and that would have been the only way to save his character. But no. He gets to act like a Reddit incel, and then he gets together with Nezuko, and likely committed horrific war crimes in China during World War II after the series ended. Wait, hold on. I might not even be exaggerating this. Zenitsu lived a full life since he didn't get a mark, so he was more than likely conscripted to fight for Imperial Japan. In case you didn't know, the Japanese soldiers committed awful atrocities against the rest of Asia during their conquest, to the point where even the Nazis had to tell them to calm down. The author was subliminally messaging us about what Zenitsu was doing in Nanking. Okay, I left this part for the end because this is not really the fault of the creators, except it kinda is. This is one of the most annoying fan bases in anime. The Demon Slayer fan base loves to glaze random ass characters that don't deserve glazing. Why do people love this guy so much and act like he's the greatest character ever? He had no character development or anything. Somehow people actually cried over him when he died. How were you that emotionally attached to a character that had like what, 20 minutes of screen time? Another glazed character is the previously mentioned Zenitsu. Somehow people actually like him. I was scrolling through shorts and saw that someone made an edit specifically for him. 1.5 million views. Yeah guys, Zenitsu's such a giga chad because he's not scared. The shit's so fucking cringe to read, bro. Oh my fucking god. The fanbase also has a weird obsession over Nezuko, a 14-year-old girl by the way. She's literally just a dog almost the entire series, and I feel my skin crawl every time I hear a real-life grown adult call her cute. Like, I'm pretty sure the Demon Slayer fanbase is on par with the My Hero fanbase with how much degenerate shit I have seen.
We're not done. Daddy isn't done.
I'm not surprised since the fan service in the series is atrocious, especially considering how young the audience and characters are. Why is this grown woman flashing her titties in front of teenagers? What the fuck? This series has probably given thousands of young teenagers a crippling hentai addiction. It's not even funny, bro. I literally almost gave up the series during Entertainment District when they put Nezuko in revealing clothes. The author is literally enabling the 4chan users to go fucking feral over this fictional 14-year-old. And then you see videos like this, smash or pass the Demon Slayer characters. Who the fuck made this video? He is 14 years old. You know what, fuck it, I'm done. I'm fucking done. This fanbase is awful. Okay, so now I have provided my opinion of the series. I really do not like it. There are definitely hype moments in the series, but that doesn't justify the rest of the issues this series has. I'm mad that Ufotable animated this instead of literally any other series. And look, I don't want the author to receive any hate or backlash. I really hope that if the author is working on another series, they actually put time into developing its characters and world building. Because a lot of these issues stem from the fact that the series isn't long enough to actually explain anything. I know that the author did get rushed during the final arc, so I won't really blame them too much, but there's still just a lot of like loose ends that the author has never decided to explain for some reason. If you don't like my opinion, please leave a comment as I would like to debate over it. If you enjoyed the content, like, sub, and comment. Check out these other videos I've made about Jujutsu Kaisen. Have a good day and stay safe.